Thank goodness for that. Finally, some traffic lights. Well, good afternoon. Willkommen. Guten Abend. How the devil are we? Absolutely spiffing. Well, the sun's out. Check that. So I thought I'd better get the old covers off a Bern. And give him a little run. Be rude not to, wouldn't it? Well, I trust everybody's well. I am doing bloody 30. Jeez, isn't it? So it'll only be a quickie today. Now, it would be remiss of me not to mention some of the best news I've certainly had in recent times. And that's wee Jimmy Cranky's thrown the towel in, finally. But it's got nothing to do with what I was talking about last week. She just felt that she didn't have any more to give, really. What a load of bollocks. She finally painted herself into a corner and couldn't get out of it. Now who knows who's going to replace her and what they'll be like, but yes. See, that comes a very, this is what I was saying at work, this comes a very, very, very close runner-up, second place to the previous general election result, after watching the Lib Dem leader Joe Swindler Swinson smugly do the rounds before the general election, making all sorts of ridiculous statements and then losing her seat on the election night. Oh my good lord. God, I tell you what, I watched that a few times over. Anyway, moving on very swiftly. "15-minute cities." 15-minute cities. You know, those things that I'm sure many people think, nonsense, not going to happen. Well, this weekend saw some pretty large demonstrations taking place in Oxford. Oh joy, just some more temporary traffic lights. Wonderful. yeah, this weekend saw some pretty big demonstrations by the residents of Oxford. Against this whole 15-minute city thing, which they're trying to trial in Oxford. And this is it, isn't it? You know, nobody thinks it will happen. And it's coming down the pipeline in perhaps the single largest infringement on our civil liberties that we will have seen perhaps ever. And it will be coming to a city near you pretty soon. It's my understanding that there's a large number of councils that have signed up to the notion of it. And you may think that you live in a town or a city small enough that's that it's simply not feasible. They'll find a way, trust me, they will find a way. And who will suffer initially? You've guessed it, the poor. Thing is, there's no such thing as inalienable rights. There's no such thing as universal human rights. These things are constructs of society. And in the same way that the sea will erode unprotected land, well then tyranny will erode unprotected rights. As Andy from Adventures in Bella was reiterating, you know, come 2030 you won't be able to buy a petrol engine 125 or moped or 50cc or nothing, even though they are perhaps one of the most fuel efficient forms of transport you could imagine as far as the internal combustion engine goes. And motorcycles will soon follow. I don't want to ride a glorified e-scooter. So if we don't start doing something about it, it's going to be game over. Ooh, why don't we go down through here? Hop into Marduk. I know, I take you down all the best roads, Bern, don't I? All the nice, smooth, winding roads. There's the old railway pub. Skittled in there once or twice. Tell you what, my fingers are cold. Anyway, this is Martok. Our home skip alley was out here for many years. The old George pub, which was just to there. A very unforgiving Skittle alley, that one. Well, they all were for me. Those unfamiliar with Skittles, a bit like bowling, but if one of your players didn't turn up, you'd automatically get 30 points for them for not showing up. And it wasn't that uncommon that we'd have done better had I not turned up. Oh dear. See, it was all good fun, wasn't it? When we went to Spike's celebration of life the other week, we were reminiscing my now infamous nomination hand evening. Nomination was, obviously you had to nominate which pin, or the foremost pin. If you hit any others, they were gone and they would no longer count. So if you had a fresh 9 pins up and you hit every pin down bar the one at the front, they were gone and it didn't count. So all you could now score was 1. But yeah, I think I had 0, 0, 0, 17 spare, 0, 0. Good days. Now then, a quick update on the whole astronomy thing. So I bought this little 80mm objective, or 80mm diameter aperture telescope, and then sort of 2 weeks later I bought the computerized go-to 127mm aperture one, which turned up very nice. And the idea of it is that you go for a quick alignment process by pointing it at a couple of objects, and it works out where it is in the sky, and you can then tell it to point it pretty much any object in the sky, and it will do so for you. And more importantly, it will keep that object in the field of view, because you will not believe when you're looking through that eyepiece at something, even how quickly it moves out of view. Happy chappy. So yes, that turned up on the Friday. I can't remember if I've already told you this or not, but let's go through Amiel. We normally come down this way, don't we? So yeah, that turned up on the Friday, and I had a little play with it in the day, in the evening. You know, cloudy as always. Worked fine. Saturday, set it up, all working fine, no problem. Sunday, had a little fiddle with it, as you do. Monday evening, brought it downstairs after work, ready to go out and use it in anger and have a look at Jupiter. Bloody thing wasn't working. Error code, error 16. Which meant that the handset that controls it couldn't talk to the motors that drive it. So after the usual switch it off and on a couple of times, unplug bits and bobs, change the batteries in it and all of that, no, gave up. Back in the box, back to bloody Amazon where it came from. So particularly disappointed. Not a spot to park in. I'm gonna have to put my gloves on because my fingers are going numb. Anyway, so yeah, sent that back. And to be honest, I was that pissed off. I've got a habit of buying things and they arrive and they don't bloody work. I mean, look at the Royal Enfield I bought. Day after I got it, bloody thing's leaking oil like nobody's business. Anyway, right, so I'll tell you what, this road's better than the road that Tame has to take on into work. We'll pick up that in a minute. Now this is an old Iron Age hill fort. You wouldn't have thought I'd clean that last week. Mind you, it was filthy when I took the cover off. How's that chain looking? Ooh. Do with a bit of lube, I think. Right. Now then, what was I belly aching about? Ah yes, telescopes. So yeah, that went back to Amazon and I was so dejected and annoyed. I thought, that's it, I'm done, I can't be bothered with it. But within about 3 days I decided, no, sod it. Life's short, innit? Get it out of your system. So I bought another one, same thing, different company. And that arrived Thursday. And of course it's been cloudy ever since, so fingers crossed might have some viewing this evening. So like Derek, I'm doing my little bit to try and keep the economy ticking over, although Derek's miles ahead of me. He ought to be up for an MBE, I reckon. Haha, only joking, Derek. I do like his new bike. That is one lovely, lovely bike. Certainly soak up the miles on that, couldn't you? I'd still like a ZZR 1100, but it's an old bike, isn't it? That's the problem. Lots of gravel. It's an old bike. Not only that, it's a big bike to keep on that little bloody plinth I got out the front of the house. It's not ideal, is it? Now, I don't know if I want to go this way, really. I might go Camp Road. Never make up your mind where I'm going. Well, as I say, it was just a quickie today, so as always, I shall love you and leave you. And I'll catch you next time.